press conference at the Dewberry Hotel, the White Elephant of Charlottesville, at 10 a.m. this morning. And Nicholas Erpe was there for the press conference, not only as a spectator, but as a member of the advisory council of the organization hosting the press conference. So we'll talk about the presser today at 10 a.m. at the Dewberry Hotel, the White Elephant of Charlottesville, the skeleton that has soured the skyline in our city for a decade plus. Photos from today's presser. The first photos you will see of the presser, courtesy of the CMO of Emergent Financial Services and a member on the advisory council of Friends of Seaville, the organization behind the improvements of the Dewberry. We're also going to talk Russia-Ukraine. If you're not living under a rock, you realize Russia and Ukraine are at war. The impact of this war on the United States of America, on the Commonwealth of Virginia, and on Central Virginia, Charlottesville, and Albemarle County. That topic on today's show. Tomorrow, masks become optional in schools across Central Virginia. Furthermore, vaccination and testing centers in Albemarle County and the city of Charlottesville with the Blue Ridge Health District are closing. COVID confidence, aka COVID fatigue, at an all-time high right now in this community. And folks, Virginia Republicans just ashed weed retail in Virginia. If you make that A-S-H-E-D over there on the rundown, if you could for us, J-Dubs. Your comments and more. Give the show a like and a share anywhere you are watching. Anywhere you are watching, give the show a like and a share, and we'll get to work today on the I Love Seaville show for you with a lot to cover on today's program. Judah Wickower, my friend, my comrade, we can rock and roll when you are ready, my friend. Guys, good Monday afternoon. My name is Jerry Miller, and welcome to the I Love Seaville show. We are live in Charlottesville, the Commonwealth, the country, and the world on the I Love Seaville network. Folks, so much to cover on the Monday edition of the program. Like most Mondays, the show is jam-packed with information to make you a more engaged, entertained, empathetic, and insightful consumer and citizen here in Central Virginia. Give the show a like and a share anywhere you are watching, just like Carol Thorpe has done, the queen of Jack Jewett, who routinely makes this program better and our network better. Carol Thorpe, I sincerely mean that about you. A lot we're going to cover on today's program, folks. We will talk about the press conference at the Dewberry Hotel. It happened at 10 a.m. this morning, 2.5 hours ago. We have photos from the press conference, including some folks that were in attendance, and we have an insider, and Nicholas Erpe, who will join us in a matter of moments to spotlight the boots on the street perspective from that presser put on by Friends of Seaville. He is a member of their advisory council, so literally nitty-gritty from the street on the Dewberry Hotel with the CMO of Emergent Financial Services. We'll talk Ukraine, Russia, and the impact this war may have, not only on the United States of America, but also the Commonwealth and Central Virginia on today's program. Ladies and gentlemen, testing and vaccination centers in Charlottesville and Albemarle County, the Blue Ridge Health District specifically, they are closing in March. COVID confidence at an all-time high. Maybe we also call it COVID fatigue at an all-time high. Folks, we will talk on today's show, Virginia Republicans ashing weed retail. I wanted to do a pun with cannabis and weed with a headline here. I was thinking bogarting, roaching, exhaling, coughing. We decided to go with ashing. Either way, weed retail is not going to happen this year in the Commonwealth of Virginia. thanks to Virginia Republicans. That story for you in a matter of moments. This show brought to you by Skooma Boutique Dispensaries. The best dispensary in Charlottesville is Skooma Boutique Dispensary, located on the Charlottesville Downtown Mall. Skooma Boutique Dispensary. Our partners at Scott Wagner Integrated Medicine, also a fantastic partner of the I Love CVille Network. Same with IMBS Medical Services. And folks, the family at Interstate Service Company. Judah Wickower is our director. Judah, good to see you. Our fabulous director. Let's go to the two-shot, Judah, and let's welcome Nicholas Erpe to the show. Let's get him on screen now. Que pasa, Chico? How are you?
Good morning, Jerry. It's actually really warm outside when you're in the sun, so it was a great morning to be doing something outside, because my first concern is it's going to be cold. It's still February, but it wasn't. It was great. So
this gentleman, Nicholas Erpe, is
Good morning.
the CMO of Emergent Financial Services. He is also one of the key executive producers of Today y Mañana, that show airs Thursdays at 10:15 a.m. on the I Love CVille Network. All around good guy, huge fan of Nicholas Erpe in general. He is a member, your beautiful fiance who had a pleasure of meeting a couple of weeks ago is watching. Hello, Elizabeth. Welcome to the program. You were boots on the street.
Right.
At the press conference today at 10 a.m., Dewberry Hotel.
Right.
Show is yours. Talk to us about what transpired.
First thing that happened is you get there was like 30 to 40 people. So it was a lot more, it was more crowded than I thought there'd be. There were cameras set up. So I think Daily Progress was there. Didn't know that what other studio came. Somebody came late. So didn't get a chance to find out who they were there. But so TV's in it. Being covered. Sean Tubbs was there. There was a whole group of people that are, at least I know are important and essential to Charlottesville, that were like, hey, I'm going to be here. Mayor Snook was there. So it started off with Michael Kaplan, who is the president of Friends of CVille. He's the driving force behind it. Put it all together. He's the one who recruited me for the advisory board. So he started off basically describing what Friends of CVille is and why they decided to put up the mural.
Let's start right there. What is Friends of CVille?
So it's an organization it's a 501c3 that Michael Kaplan started to revitalize downtown, because as he told me, when he grew up here, left, came back, was like, the Dewberry Hotel, of course, is a disaster, very sour.
And Judah is rotating photos that Nicholas Erpe took literally on screen now. Look at the screen. Friends of CVille, give us the nitty gritty.
So he started, and the entire goal of it is to revitalize downtown, because downtown you hear, I was having this conversation with Mayor Snook, like, you hear more bad things about downtown when you go there than you hear good things, and we're trying to change that. So, like, I think everybody's on board with, like, hey, something needs to be done, especially about the Dewberry Hotel. So I think Michael's first goal was, like, and this thing only started about 7 months ago, so it's a very fresh 501c3, but already he's got this done with the blessings of the Dewberrys, because they could not be here because of COVID.
Johnny Dewberry.
John Dewberry could not be here because of
I'm not going to call him the moniker that I've given him.
No. Yeah. Or listen, that's on you if you do. Just go ahead.
All right, the extorting emperor of empty lots.
Right, but I think but they are still scheduled to come to Charlottesville at some point.
Mr. and Mrs. Dewberry are.
That is what I've heard. Yes.
Okay, so were they expected to be here today?
They were, but because of COVID, a COVID protocol, they could not. So we understand, like, when you have to, you have to. But Mayor Snook followed that up with a speech of his own, and then Mayor Snook and Mr. Kuttner. Ludwig Kuttner, who is on, I believe, a different part of the board. If he is, because there's 3 different levels. He is on the executive committee. So Ludwig Kuttner is on the executive committee, and they both unveiled the sort of. It's interesting because I don't want to call it a mural, because I know it was not painted.
It's a wrap.
It's a wrap. So it's a vinyl, but it's also, in some ways, they tried to make it as much of an art exhibit as they could. So it reminded me a lot of, like, Latin American countries have this, where you get these very, very large murals. Like, I think Mexico City has a very famous one. Barcelona obviously is a city full of art. So I was at least, for me, it had that kind of resonance where it's like, okay, let's. I know there's a lot of lipstick on a pig comparisons, but it is a work of art that is pleasing to the eye and is accessible to everyone, that sends a message that Friends of Seville was trying to achieve, which is revitalizing downtown energy. I mean, the photo itself is very energetic, musical instruments, art. So I was very pleased with it, and I'm hoping that this is more of a first step rather than a final solution, if you will. Because I know that was the concern. It's one of the concerns I have, but I think because it's interesting because you had this conversation with Alex recently about the Dewberry, about how do you John Dewberry got burned. Let's be real. He was betrayed and he got burned on a deal, and he has not wanted to come back. And I personally don't blame him. So how do you earn? Well, no, I don't. No, not at all. I mean, at the same time, it depends on your character too. Alex is much more forgiving than I am, as you know. Alex just has a different character. As Alex Irby, as in the CEO of Emergent Financial Services, I might feel the same way. I'm hoping what this is sort of like, this is a first step. Look, you can trust Charlottesville now. Because we were willing to do this and work with you. And they gave permission for us to put the mural on the building, so that was at least a concession on their part. Will there be more in the future? I hope so, but I have not heard anything, and I don't think that anything has started in that direction. But I would like there to be, and I'm hoping that this is like a first step, not like this is it.
Okay, so I'm sharing the 10-minute highlight clip from Mayor Lloyd Snook. He joined us on this show about 3 weeks ago. I'm putting that all over Facebook, all over LinkedIn, all over Twitter, all over YouTube as we speak. Lloyd Snook, the mayor of Charlottesville, very clearly and appropriately and succinctly explains the history of the Dewberry Hotel and how we got to this point, the white elephant of Charlottesville. So here's what I want to do. Flipbook, John Blair, welcome to the program on LinkedIn. Anybody that offers perspective, Bob Yarborough, we'll get to yours here in a matter of moments. Put it in the feed. I will relay it live on air. The press conference happened today at 10 a.m.
Right.
A press conference was put on by a nonprofit, a 501c3, led by Michael Kaplan.
Right.
The nonprofit's called Friends of Seville. When we had Mayor Snook on the show 3 weeks ago, we specifically said, is it Friends of Seville that is doing this to the Dewberry Hotel? We proved to be right.
Yes.
Friends of Seville is some of the most influential and powerful people in this community. Ludwig Kutner is a part of it.
Yes, he's on the executive committee.
Nicholas Irby is on the advisory council.
The most important person in Charlottesville, obviously.
And it's a collection of developers specifically and stakeholders in Charlottesville that have reason for downtown to return to its cachet, its pomp and circumstance, its beauty, its best look. So at 10 a.m., there's 30 to 40 people there. Nicholas Irby is one of them.
Okay.
Identify some of the other major players in attendance. Just names if you could, and then I'll get to some questions for you.
So just off the top of my head, I remember, so Eddie Kay from Four Corners Solutions was there. Juan Diego Wade, who's on another city council. Mayor Snook was there. Elizabeth Cromwell from the Chamber of Commerce, the head of the Chamber of Commerce, was there. There was, I believe Hunter Craig was there, but I did not see him personally, so I'm not going to validate. He was called out by Michael Kaplan, so I believe he was there. Alex Bryant, I think, was there. So there was a whole number of people. Keith Woodard was there. So
these are heavy hitters.
Yes, these are all important people in Charlottesville that were there to see this happen.
Okay, press conference starts at 10 a.m.
Right.
Michael Kaplan, is he doing most of the talking?
He did some. There wasn't a lot of talking that went on. Michael Kaplan went through what is Friends of Seville, why do we put it together. Mayor Snook went and talked a little bit. They were all very succinct. Ludwig Kuttner also had a few words, very well chosen words to say, and it was, and then that was it. It was very succinct, very brief, and it was. What I like about that is it got the message across. You know, like actions speak louder than words. We've done this. This is what we are setting out to do.
Bob Yarborough.
Okay.
Watching. Bob Yarborough, you keep contributing. We're going to dub you the king of Redfields here. He's been on the show before. He says, don't blame him. He's surprised by that comment.
Okay.
You do not blame Dewberry. He
No.
wants to know why that's the case, if you could lay out your plan.
So my position has always been like, if you have somebody that is going to build something in your city, let's say you are a very wealthy man that has the ability to build something. Now, obviously, you know that you're doing it for profit, right? The for-profit motive is the reason that we engage in businesses. But we also know that doing that helps everyone, right? That's the whole point of the system we have, is that building businesses helps everyone. It hires people and it creates more traffic, right? Velocity of money. People are coming and spending their dollars. The hotel would have been something that was good for the entire community. It's not, there's no ifs or buts about it. It would have been. And John Dewberry was going to make money off of it. No ifs and buts about it. But that's every business. It's just, if you're, you know.
So why don't you blame him?
What
happened?
Well, if you go in and you have a deal like, listen, if I'm going to do this, I need parking spots, and the mayor of Charlottesville tells you, we have the spots for you, and then you go, and all of a sudden, while you are on the call, they vote against it when you believed that they were going to vote and was told that they were going to vote for it. I mean, no offense. I'm sure Mr. Dewberry has better things to do with his time than sit on a phone call where he is actively betrayed. I mean, that's cold. It's brutal. I mean, and not to mention, I'm sure he put money into buying and he pays property taxes every year.
$65,000 a year.
Right.
Here's
Absolutely.
the nitty gritty. Lloyd Snook highlighted this well for us on this program. Nikiah Walker, right in the shadows of August 12, 2017, months after 8/12, 2017, one of the darkest days in Charlottesville history, utilized the Dewberry Hotel in her words, white, out-of-town, wealthy developer getting tax incentives and a parking space deal negotiated by former Mayor Mike Signer. She utilized that as part of her platform of what was wrong with the social and racial and economic climate in this community, and essentially leveraged that development as a springboard in part to get into office. That leverage she utilized, collateral damage this project, and as a result, we have this scary skeleton in the sky that we call the Dewberry Hotel. So Dewberry felt betrayed because flip-flopping Bob Fenwick, Dr. Wes Bellamy, Nikiah Walker, before she was elected to council, Michael Payne had a hand in this. And again, if you listen to the 10-minute clip that I just shared on social media in the comment section across every platform, you'll hear the mayor of Charlottesville describe literally what happened to this project in the bottom of the ninth inning, the 23rd, nearly 24th hour of how this project collapsed. So here's the question I have for you, Nicholas Erpe. You're on the advisory council of Friends of Seville, a nonprofit that is essentially championing the downtown,
Right.
and trying to return it to its former glory.
Right.
How do you bridge the trust gap that has collapsed with an out-of-town, wealthy, white developer?
Well, I mean, you hit the nail on the head when you use the word trust, right? Business is built on trust. That's how you do it. You cannot go into business with someone, especially with a large amount of money, when you do not trust them. And I think putting the mural up or the wrap is a great first step, because it shows, hey, we want something done about this. We are willing to we were willing to put money, private money. There was money that was donated to Friends of Seville by a lot of the people that we mentioned.
So that's good information. The
Yes.
wrap, the cost of the wrap was not paid for by the Dewberrys.
The cost of the wrap was not paid for by the Dewberrys, but as of today, Michael Kaplan announced that the Dewberrys did donate $10,000 to Friends of Seaville. I cannot say whether, and it was not clear whether
That's breaking news right there.
That's not clear whether it was for the wrap or just in support of the organization.
So there's breaking news right there from Nicholas Herpy. 10 G's, 10K,
Yes.
10,000 smackaroos.
Yep.
Donated by the Dewberrys of Atlanta, Georgia,
Right.
to the nonprofit in Charlottesville called Friends of Seaville.
Correct.
And that $10,000 was pledged for what purpose?
I do not know, and it was not made clear. And I'm not sure that Michael Kaplan is at liberty to say that right now. It was not, from what I understood, it was not necessarily to pay for the wrap. The wrap was paid for, and this is here going back to the issue of trust. The wrap was paid for by heavy hitters in Charlottesville, right? A lot of the people that we mentioned on the executive committee put money in, including Michael Kaplan himself, actually put money into making this happen. So this was Charlottesville working with Mayor Snook, right, of the city. They got together and said, let's see if we can make this happen. Michael Kaplan took the initiative to make all the contacts and reach out to all these heavy hitters, because it's in everyone's interest for it to get solved, right, the Dewberry Hotel. And we made this happen. So I think this is a great first step, because it's like, hey, we've got public and private partnership. We can work together, businesses, city. Let's do something about this. And my hope is that Mr. Dewberry and Mrs. Dewberry are looking at this saying, okay, there's new leadership in Charlottesville in the town hall, and there's obviously a business interest in the Charlottesville area for this to get resolved.
So you see this as a proverbial olive branch.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's what it was meant to be. Michael Kaplan's not trying to be like, let's hide. And because I had this discussion with him before I joined the board, because I wasn't willing to put my time and effort into something that I thought was going to be a waste of my time. So the first thing when I met with Michael for coffee, we talked about like actual steps to revitalize downtown, a lot of things that obviously are still in the works, can't talk about it. But the very first thing was like, is this actually going to get done? Because, and is this going to lead somewhere? And I think Michael's position was that, yes, half of Charlottesville may not like the fact that there is a mural on the Dewberry Hotel, but 100% of Charlottesville does not like the fact that there is a broken down hotel. Can we use this as a way to start a conversation? And listen, the Dewberrys responded, right, and said, go ahead, put this on the hotel, thought it was a great idea.
Why do you think half of Charlottesville, and I agree that 100% of Charlottesville, 100% of Charlottesville does not like the scary skeleton in the sky.
Right, absolutely.
Why do you think half of Charlottesville does not like the wrap on the scary skeleton in the sky?
Well, I think I believe it was Carol Thorpe who referenced the lipstick
Queen
on
of
a page.
Jack, right. Carol Thorpe.
Love you, Carol. But if I hadn't heard, which is one of the reasons I want to be on today, is that like if I had heard about this, I might have had the same reaction where it's like, you're just covering it up, right? You're not solving the problem. But the position of Friends of Seaville is it's a first step. It is better than what you had before, and it at least is starting to reestablish some communication with people that have been burnt and have no trust. I mean, Dewberry has no reason to trust Charlottesville. He got burned. Once he got seriously burned, then when he started to think about it again, got burned again and called out. Why would you come back? If somebody stabs you in the back twice, you're not going to come back. I'm surprised he came back the first time, to be fair.
So this is some perspective here, valuable perspective. Perspective from someone that is a part of the nonprofit, Nicholas Herpy, on the advisory council of Friends of Seaville, guys, the nonprofit. So you have a couple things here. You have a press conference today at 10 a.m.
Right.
The Dewberrys were supposed to be at the press conference, but because of COVID, either an exposure or protocols,
is what I heard, so
they did not come. You also have the fact that the Dewberrys donated $10,000 of their own money to this nonprofit.
Correct.
That's fresh news right there. You have a local government spearheaded by Lloyd Snook, the mayor, and you have the private side spearheaded by Michael Kaplan and Ludwig Kutner,
right,
working in conjunction to olive branch or jumpstart conversations again with Dewberry
Right.
to try to make something happen.
Right.
What else are we missing here? This is good stuff right here, Nicholas Herpich.
I mean, I don't think that there's anything. I mean, on the subject of the Dewberry Hotel, there isn't. I don't think there's anything more than that, because I don't think anything more than that can happen yet. I mean, I hate to say, like, the ball is in Mr. Dewberry's court now, but in the sense that, like,
It 100% is.
it is now, because of the fact that I think part of the whole goal of this was to be like, hey, we want this resolved. Ignore our previous history of having, some dysfunction in town hall that was preventing this from happening. Let's see if we can get at least get a conversation about how we would like to resolve it.
Questions coming in for Nicholas Herpich.
Okay, love it.
Questions coming in here. CMO, Emergent Financial Services here. You mentioned other things in the works. Can you give us some insight into anything? And Jerry, please ask about your beer garden concept for the downtown mall now that COVID is subsidizing and people are gaining more confidence because numbers are going down. Beer garden in the works?
Not that I've heard of. I have brought it up, but there hasn't.
Because Ludwig would benefit from that. Ludwig owns a hell of a lot of property in the downtown mall.
A lot of people would benefit from that, and I think
Charlie Lewis, Hunter
would
Craig,
yeah,
Mr. Woodard.
Yeah, they would all benefit from that.
City council, taxpayer dollars.
Absolutely. I have not heard anything about that. I think the Dewberry wrap has been the priority. So a lot of the other conversation was about isolating and identifying what each member believed was a problem with the downtown mall and why it is in the state it is in. A lot of that is going to involve working with Mayor Snook. So I'm not saying it's in Mayor Snook's court again, because I've been a
Pun intended. He's an attorney.
Well, right. I forgot about that. It was a tennis quote, but I like that better. But no. So I mean, the thing was, now that we have this established, there's probably going to be some meetings and some conversations about what would be next. So is it going to be pursuing the Dewberry thing, or are there going to be other priorities with downtown that we could see happen? I like the beer garden idea, and but that's a conversation that the entire board needs to have. That is not necessarily on the docket. That is not something that Friends of Seaville is going to pursue yet, unless I bring it up and push it enough. But
let's talk about this.
Yes.
General terms, not Friends of Seaville, just in general terms.
Okay.
Ideas that can spring engagement, hope, positivity, consumer confidence for downtown Charlottesville, the heartbeat of our community. Some that you may have. I have some as well. Do you want to begin, or shall I begin?
I want to hear what you got to say.
There's been no larger proponent or champion for the beer garden concept in downtown Charlottesville than yours truly. The idea is straightforward. You set up a check-in at Central Place, the heart of downtown where Zocalo is. I believe Ludwig also owns Central Place. You have a kiosk somewhere in the center of the mall where people can buy wristbands. These wristbands will be purchased for either $5 or $10, whatever you want to sell them for. That money goes directly to Charlottesville government. In fact, you're trying to fund school reconfiguration right now. You need incremental sources of tax revenue. Sell a wristband on the downtown mall that will allow consumers to go from bar to bar to bar to bar with a cup that the city also provides along with the wristband. Judah's giving his frown upon. This is your take. What do you got to say about that?
Let's see. I love the beer garden idea, but I feel like the cup idea is just a mess waiting to happen.
Tell me why.
Because you're asking people to carry a physical cup from like bar to bar, where I think it would be far easier
Okay.
to just give them a wristband and have cups at each of the bars that are participating. So you go in, show them your wristband, and they give you a cup with a beer. Then you don't have to take it with you. You can toss it out before you leave. Saves trash on the downtown mall.
But the whole concept is walking from bar to bar with a cup. So you have to take it with you.
Why
That's
do you-
why a beer garden is.
Why
Why
do
would
you
you
need-
just drink with it on premises at the restaurant? You can do that right now already.
Well, I wouldn't want a stout in my Pilsner cup, or, I wouldn't want the same.
That's one reason.
Well,
You don't want a stout in your Pilsner cup?
Well, no.
That seems utterly ridiculous. People drink out of plastic cups at football games, at basketball games, everywhere.
That doesn't mean they have to do it here.
So the whole concept of the beer garden is being able to walk from bar to bar to bar to bar. If the city doesn't provide the plastic cups themselves, they're then asking the restaurant to incur another cost of goods when they already have the slimmest of profit margins right now. So you're basically saying, hey, Wilson Ritchie, you want to participate in the beer garden idea? You have to go buy 10,000 plastic cups if you want to do it. That's called barrier of entry.
A, he doesn't need 10,000. B,
How do you know he doesn't need 10,000?
B, I think it's fine to give people cups, but people are not going to carry their cups and keep them with them the entire time they're on the mall. And to say that they have to go all the way back to the very end of the mall to pick up another cup when they inevitably lose the cup that they were given is, I think, a further barrier of entry to this being successful.
I think if someone wants to go from, let's say, what is the farthest point of the mall? If someone wants to go from Passiflora, the old Commonwealth Sky Bar,
right.
and wants to walk to the Millie Joe's 2 that is now in the Code building, Joffrey Woodruff's building, those are your two furthest points of sale from a boozing standpoint.
With the beer?
Passiflora with a beer.
Oh, okay.
They are going to save the cup. If I went and paid $10 for a bracelet and got a plastic cup and was told by Charlottesville, you can only drink in this cup from Passiflora to Millie Joe's 2 in the Code building, I would not lose the cup. I could walk and hold my cup. I have a 3-year-old. I make sure not to lose him, and he runs around everywhere. The cup doesn't run around.
Right.
The cup stays in my hand.
Well, I just thought that, like,
I haven't lost my kid yet.
Competitive, like, the businesses would just, like, you go there, you have your beer there, but you wouldn't walk with your beer to another beer location. You finish your beer, then you go to the next spot.
You drink the beer on the way to the next spot, and then you fill up the beer at the next spot. You can drink the beer while walking to the next spot.
Sure you can.
It's like the French Quarter.
But if you're not going to take into account people losing their cups,
Losing their cups?
throwing-
What are we talking about?
you act like somebody's going to walk around the mall for 2 hours and
Okay.
no one is ever going to. You can't seriously think that no one is going to lose a cup.
Let's factor in losing cups. We'll factor in losing cups. You buy a wristband and you get a cup. If you lose a cup, you go back to the kiosk in the center of the mall and you buy another cup for $2 extra. There's incremental revenue for the city. You factor into the business model lost cup for additional revenue.
I'd lie right off the bat and say I lost my cup.
Why? You're paying the city more money. Why would you want to give the city more money?
You go right off the bat and say, here's $2, I lost my cup.
So you could give your cup to somebody else?
No, you just, instead of buying it to begin with, you buy the wristband.
You guys are, he's
What-
missing the point here.
I'm missing the point.
The wristband and the cup are $5.
together, yes.
Are together. If you lose your cup, you have to pay the city extra money to get another
No,
cup.
but my point is, I would just, instead of buying all that first, why can't I just come and say I lost my cup?
Because you don't get the wristband.
I lost my wristband.
Then you'd have to pay full price.
Well, then that's different. Okay,
All right.
problem solved. I'm just
What are
thinking.
you missing here?
No. I find it an interesting idea, but I guess my thought had been more like festival style, where it's sort of like you enter and there's anything that you can do, not just like walk around with a cup for beer. Because there's a lot of people that love downtown, but not necessarily for the beer prospects.
We can't pass the addition of cost of goods to restaurants
no,
by
I don't
asking
know.
them to buy more cups for this.
Right.
The restaurants currently do not have plastic to-go cups. You guys are saying the restaurants, that's what he's saying, Judah is saying, that the restaurants should provide the glassware.
I'm saying that somebody should provide plastic cups to the restaurants that are participating. How often is this? Is this going to happen every day?
It should be Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Thursday, Friday, Saturday on the downtown mall in designated side streets so they can incorporate spots like formerly known Fellini's.
Well, the only issue with that, though, is also you're skipping some businesses that don't provide beer, right?
I can't think of a single restaurant
well,
on the
restaurant,
downtown mall.
Restaurant, no. But does Tillman's Wine Bar?
Tillman's Wine Bar has beer. They have draft beer.
I was thinking of Vitae Spirits because
Tillman's Wine Bar has beer.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Vitae Spirits would benefit from this as well because
I think
people.
The benefit of any business on the downtown mall is that you have increased foot traffic.
Exactly.
Right.
This is so obvious. Increased foot traffic. There's literally increased foot traffic. If you have a beer garden on the downtown mall, the retail places would benefit because there's people that are coming to the downtown mall that are drinking that will also shop.
Totally agree. I'm just worried.
This is so obvious.
I'm just wondering about the walking around with the cup in your hand.
Well, if you can't walk around with the cup in your hand, then all you have is people drinking beer on the patio of the restaurants, which you can do right now. Do you guys see that?
Well, I see that, but can't you ask I don't know. Okay.
You can drink beer on the patios of Miller's and Whiskey Jar.
I know that. So
okay. If you don't give them the option to walk off the patio, then there is no beer garden.
So wait. So what you're telling me is that we just need to have the city sell beer cups on our
wrist. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, perfect.
I've been saying this all along.
I see what you've been saying. I'm just okay.
I'm gonna publish this link in every Facebook page and social media channel. Remember, I wrote this analysis for I Love Seville. Remember? We published this together. Convert the entire downtown mall into an outdoor beer garden. When converting the downtown mall into an outdoor beer garden, the city of Charlottesville should set up a check-in point at the heart of the mall. This check-in point will be staffed by 1 to 2 employees making at least $15 an hour. This check-in point would serve as a transaction spot. We as consumers would pay the city of Charlottesville $2, $3, $4, $5 for a wristband and a plastic cup. With the wristband on and a plastic cup in our hand, we will head to local restaurants on the mall and purchase local craft cocktails, local wine, local cider, and local beer.
Okay.
Our favorite restaurants will pour these local spirits into this city-issued plastic cup, only into the plastic cup. When we will then walk up and down the mall with this plastic cup while social distancing, socializing, and supporting our beloved restaurants. This strategy will result in the following. This strategy will encourage Charlottesvillians and Central Virginians to return to the downtown mall to eat, drink, shop, laugh, and love. This strategy will jumpstart the downtown mall local economy. This strategy will slowly help return thousands of jobs that we lost over COVID. This strategy will help locally owned restaurants climb out of what appears to be insurmountable debt. This strategy will trickle over positively to locally owned shops and music venues. I can continue. This is literally a no-brainer. I don't want to monopolize the conversation here.
No, not at all. I like the idea. I have from the first. I have the same concern. I just had the same concern about Judah with walking around with the cup. I haven't seen it done.
I don't have a problem walking around with the cup, but you need to make concessions for people losing their cup.
Yeah, here's the concession.
Getting one at the next bar. And the thing is, the way I've seen it utilized in other places,
Savannah.
Yeah, for instance, is that you're not getting a full glass of beer when you go in with your cheap ass cup. You're getting they usually have a smaller cup.
Yeah.
You get $1 beer.
That's what I'm saying.
So you can walk around from one place to the next and get $1 beer. You're not getting 16 ounces. You're not having
You get a plastic cup that is a version of a beer that's not a 20-ounce beer. If you want the full beer, you stay in the restaurant and you pay more. But if you'd like to walk up and down the downtown mall, enjoy the gorgeous spring weather, and do some sightseeing or check out the eye candy, you do it with a cup in your hands and you walk up and down the mall. If for some reason you lose the cup, which I find it very confusing or difficult to comprehend that someone would lose the cup. But if you do lose the cup, you go back to the point of sale that the city is running and you buy another cup because you lost it.
All right. I see what you're saying now.
This seems like the most straightforward thing in the whole wide world for the downtown mall and Friends of Seaville to do. Wilson Ritchie and all the restaurateurs in downtown Charlottesville, they would do jumping jacks of joy for this.
No. I like the idea. Again, I response taken. I see what you're saying.
Anybody, any thoughts, Judah, on this?
Yeah,
Anyone?
At no point am I disagreeing that any of this is a good idea. I just think you need to make concessions for somebody getting another cup without wandering all the way back to a single spot.
It's in the center of the mall.
I don't know why
Jared,
that's such a inimical concept to you.
J-Dubs,
May I?
if they're at Passiflora and they lose their cup, if they're at the Sprint at the Ting Pavilion,
Who cares where
and
they're
they
at?
lose their cup, all they would have to do is walk 2 blocks to the center of the mall across from Zocalo to buy another cup.
Well,
that would take them 2 minutes.
Well, Jerry, instead of having one location, why don't you just have 2 near the 2 garages?
Because you can have more points of sale if you want, but the thing to consider, the more points of sale you have for this concept, the more staffing overhead you're going to have. If you have 1 point of sale in the center of the downtown mall, you're keeping overhead in check from a staffing standpoint, as opposed to having 2 points of sale where you're going to have to cover staff for 2 different locations at $15 clip. Now let's take it a step further. Ladies and gentlemen, consider this concept. This is the genius. Okay? Instead of raising the real estate tax rate 10 cents to fund Buford school reconfiguration and Walker school reconfiguration, a 10-cent real estate tax rate increase that undoubtedly will gentrify the families we are trying to serve with reconfiguration out of this community, because it's going to take years to rebuild these schools.
Right.
Years. So by the time we generate the revenue and finish the construction project, the families, the under-resourced families we're trying to serve with reconfiguration will be hitting the road jack, getting the hell out of Dodge and piecing out because they can't afford to live here.
Right.
Instead
Absolutely.
of doing that, figure out an incremental tax source to generate revenue. Good God, this is a brilliant idea.
Yeah.
Lloyd Snook and City Council can do a beer garden on the downtown mall on Thursday. You better write this stuff down for Friends of Seaville. On Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And the taxes that come from the downtown mall beer garden go directly to Buford and Walker school reconfiguration. That's a freaking brilliant idea.
I like it. It's so much better than the tax, and I always thought that
Incremental.
Absolutely.
That is incremental tax sources. Someone passed that on. I will mention this to Mayor Lloyd Snook.
Yeah.
Judah, what do you think of that?
I think it's a great idea.
We're not taxing the real estate.
Yeah, I know. I think that's an excellent idea.
We're not taxing the real estate. We're not gentrifying the community.
Mm-hmm.
We're getting people to go downtown. We're getting people to spend more money at merchants downtown, driving incremental revenue through the meals tax.
Right.
And we've created a new line item of revenue, the beer garden, that can go directly to school reconfiguration.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm sold.
Thoughts?
I will,
John Blair,
I
thoughts?
will bring it up. Is Xavier? I'm just curious if Xavier said anything so far on the feed.
Xavier Yerpe is watching right now.
Yeah, I know he is.
Thoughts, Xavier Yerpe. Anybody see a problem with this concept? David Varell, Outer Banks, Nag's Head, Dippin' Dots Finest, welcome to the program. Dude, that is a freaking brilliant idea.
It is a brilliant idea, and they and this hopefully will become like the purpose of like this organization, is to like get these kind of ideas across. Earlier today, Mike and I were talking about different ideas, which I will not divulge, but there's.
Well, you better be talking about that idea.
I had that on my docket to talk with him at some point, but still, yeah, that's a great idea.
You could literally, you could get the You know what is bipartisan? You know what? You
Money,
know what?
yeah.
What's that?
Money.
You know what? Even better. You know what?
Okay.
Unifies Republicans and Democrats? Education for children.
Oh, yeah, fair. Yeah.
Republicans and Democrats will unify when we say 8-year-old Susie and 8-year-old Johnny are learning in a school that is unhealthy, doesn't have great light, doesn't have awesome ventilation, and is set up from generations ago from a school learning standpoint.
Right.
Let's help 8-year-old Johnny and 8-year-old Susie get a better education. Let's do this beer garden concept to drive revenue for 8-year-old Johnny and 8-year-old Susie.
Yeah.
That is a marketer and branding agency's dream.
Well, it brings, and not to mention, it's going to bring in people from around Central Virginia who are like, let's go to Charlottesville for the beer garden. Now, would you have that all year round too?
I would have it Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, 365,
All right.
year round.
I like it. I think that's a good idea.
I mean, you could potentially
you're going to need
choose-
something in the winter because the winter, like just as
Mayor Snook, we love you, right there. We love you. We love you, Mayor Snook. We love you. You just walked by. You saw him, right?
Oh yeah, he was here.
Just saw him.
No, he was on the downtown mall, and he was yep.
Dude, you could run the beer garden concept on the farmer's market schedule. The farmer's market schedule is considerate and mindful of inclement weather, cold, and winter.
Right.
You say the downtown mall beer garden will run on the same schedule as the farmer's market. You could even create a point of sale. Geez, this is incredible. My brain is going 1,000 miles an hour. This is literally coming to me on the fly here. You could take a point of sale on the farmer's market on Saturday mornings. What does it run? The city farmer's market usually runs from 8 to noon.
Okay.
One of the stands at the farmer's market from 8 to noon, 8 a.m. to 12 p.m., could be, they already have staff the city does at the farmer's market. There's already city staff
That's what
there.
I thought. Yeah.
There's already staff there. The farmer's market can have a point of sale, staff in a booth, selling the cups and wristbands for $5. They're already there.
Yeah.
And then say, with signage, go enjoy this cup and this band half a block over there.
Yeah.
And we could build a website, not we, just the city in general, a website or an app could be built that showcases the vendors and the brands associated with the beer garden concept. It would be the only year-round beer garden in Commonwealth of Virginia. Is there another one we can think of?
I don't know if there's another one in
Johnny
Virginia.
Ornalis, is there another
No
outdoor?
idea.
Is there another beer garden in the Commonwealth that anyone can think of? Yes, there's some for festivals.
Okay. Yeah.
Carytown comes to mind. Scott's Edition comes to mind. Bob Yarborough. Can anyone think of any other festival concept, any other beer garden year-round concepts? I'm not talking about the ones that are just for festivals. I'm
Right.
talking about year-round concepts.
I mean, they have them in Europe, but I mean,
We got to get Kaplan and Ludwig here on the show.
I'll do my best.
Advisory council.
I'll do my best. But one of the things, and funny thing is that this is another conversation we had, was one of the things that, one of the things I like about the Beer Garden Festival idea is that in Europe, there is a sense of community and
brilliant.
place, right? And Charlottesville's historic downtown is the first thing, because interestingly enough, I was thinking about this a while back because I was planning a honeymoon, and I'm not going to divulge where or when. But the first thing I looked up is historic downtowns. I was like, because if I'm going somewhere, I want to see where it is. And I was thinking about, like, are people doing that for Charlottesville? And if they're doing that for Charlottesville, like, what is there to offer other than, the Dewberry and, and the great restaurants that we have? So it's like, there's a lot of great businesses there, but the problem is, the first thing you think of is, the Dewberry's there. The skeleton is there. just looming. The specter is looming over the city and it's turning people away. And actually, there were people that had I remember.
Is that the first thing you think of when you think of downtown, the Dewberry?
No.
That's
not the first thing I think of when I think of Dewberry. I see the Dewberry.
I've had someone, actually, the funny thing is we had people come out of town, friends of ours, and people who, like even friends of ours who had friends coming from out of town. And the first thing the only thing that ever resonated with them about Charlottesville's downtown was they were like, wow, it looks like a third world country because of that building that's got trees growing out of it.
What are your thoughts on that?
I'm just laughing at the trees growing out of it. Seriously, when I walk by it, I think, man, I wonder if I could get in there and climb around.
Are we that desensitized to the Dewberry that we perhaps we're that desensitized?
I think we are because I was shocked to hear that somebody was like, wow, Charlottesville is this bad. I was like, well, no, I mean, it's got so many great things going on for it. It's got sombreros, it's got Hamilton's, it's got all these great restaurants, it's got all these things to do, the Paramount Theater, and they're just like, yeah, but did you see that building that's like not, it's just hanging out there, it's dilapidated, it looks like it's been blown out by, it looks like a World War II shelter.
If someone is visiting the downtown mall, and I'm just playing devil's advocate, Kevin Higgins, King of Greenwood.
Oh, hey, Kevin.
Kevin Higgins, I'll get to your comment. James Watson, King of Orbits. That's your new moniker, James Watson. King of Orbits, I'll get to your comment. Johnny Ornalis, I'll get to your comment. Dude, a lot of comments coming in right now.
Yeah, a lot of comments coming in.
A couple things I want to say. If someone visits the downtown mall and they cannot get beyond the scary skeleton in the sky and see the restaurants and the retail and the music and the positive energy and the hospitality and the charisma and the personality of downtown, then that's unfortunate. I will agree that the scary skeleton in the sky is concerning, but there's so much other stuff that surpasses the scary skeleton in the sky.
Absolutely.
Johnny Ornalis says, I cannot think of any other beer gardens in Virginia that are year-round. James Watson, the King of Orbits, says, you could also use Apple Wallet to create an ID and QR code for admission. Savannah, Georgia, he says, has allowed open containers on their mall for decades. You know Savannah, Georgia. Judah Wickhauer used to live there, right?
Yep.
Savannah's great.
So you could offer firsthand perspective of this, right?
Yeah.
Give us the nitty-gritty of Savannah.
Well, they've got a waterfront road that basically has walkway and water. Not that you can jump in on one side.
I don't think you'd want to.
Shop fronts on the other side with that are at the bottom. There's steep steps that go up beyond them. But anywhere on this waterfront road, you can drink and go from bar to bar. And when you first get down at the bottom of the stairs, you go past a kiosk where you pay whatever it is.
You pay a fee.
Get a wristband.
And
then you can go to any of the bars along the waterfront and get a cheap plastic cup and a cheap beer.
So the plastic cups they're providing, are they almost like the plastic cups? Are they the clear ones, the clear white ones that are really small? They're the small ones.
Small, clear.
They're not the red
cups.
Solo cups that we play Beirut or beer garden or beer pong with.
Right, because that would be a full beer.
Right, so this is the small white ones that are like 10 or 12 ounces.
A sample, like a tasting at a winery?
No, it's more than a tasting at a winery. It's the plastic white cup, right? That's about 12 ounces.
Plastic clear cup, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And then when you're done with the beer, you throw them in the trash.
Yeah. I mean, Charlottesville Downtown Mall is not going to get like Savannah.
Yeah.
It's no waterfront.
Well, I'm saying on nights,
That's the weather dependent, is what he's saying.
No. What I am saying is that on nights like St. Patty's Day, you've got the entire waterfront from the bars to the rails and up and down the street. It's like.
Why can't Charlottesville get like that?
Some of Charlottesville appeal, though, is also pulling it away from downtown, right?
Why can't Charlottesville get like that?
Part of it is that is a special
It's a holiday.
Yeah.
Charlottesville has St. Patty's Day fever.
So maybe on St. Patrick's Day it'll get like that. I'm saying most of the time it's not going to get like that. But part of the reason why it's wise to have plastic cups in individual restaurants is that half the time you get the cup knocked out of your hand just trying to get out of the bar. I've gone in and you're like, I've got one beer for me and one for my friend because you can't both fit into the stuff to the
That's a
gills
good problem to
bar.
have.
Yeah, it's a good problem to have. But this way, it's easy to just like finish your cup, drop it in the nearest trash can.
No offense, if the cups are that small, I can tell you one thing as a drinker myself, that's not going to be, I'm going to polish that off before I leave the restaurant.
They're 12 ounces. It's a beer.
It's a 12-ounce beer?
Yeah, they're not that small. It's a 12-ounce
That's
beer.
still not all that big.
12 ounces, that's a full beer.
Yeah, but still.
That's like a can of beer.
I mean, how long do you take to drink a can of beer?
I mean, evidently, longer than you're taking.
Well, the point we have previously made is that if you want to buy a full-size regular beer and sit down, that's fine.
Yeah, it's good for the restaurant.
But we don't want them, you don't want the restaurants filling up, full beers and giving them away cheap. We're talking about,
see, this is the problem. The only issue with this conversation
It's a lost leader is not even the right term because that 12-ounce beer that they're selling is still going to make them money. They still have profit on that beer. Yeah. I don't want to call it a loss. So Sammy Snacks used to do this. Sammy Snacks behind Barracks Road, okay? They've now closed. But Sammy Snacks behind Barracks Road at one time was selling the front line, the Advantix, the stuff for dogs that kept the ticks in check. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Literally at like a $5 loss because they knew when people came in there and bought the front line of the Advantix, they left with something else.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's a lost leader strategy. Sammy Snacks has since gone out of business, so perhaps that wasn't the best strategy out there. But I bring that up as an example. The restaurants, even if they're selling a $2 or $3 or 12-ounce pour, they're still getting people in the door. And if people want the 20-ounce pour, they have to drink it on site.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing, right? This is a conversation you have that you could sit down and have with the restaurants, right? This is going to, and a lot of this is going to be juggled around because we can have these conversations, who's going to make money, but the restaurant's not going to come. A restaurant that if a restaurant or a business owner does not think it's going to generate income, they're not going to do it, right? So I guess the question is, like, you can sit down with them, like, how big should the board be? How big should the glass be? Do you want to provide them or have some on hand, or do you want the city to do that? Like, there's questions that need to be answered, but I think there needs to be an initial starting point, and the conversation needs to be, like, initiated. Is this something that we're willing to do?
Yes, the answer is yes.
The answer is yes for us.
Of course it's yes.
But yeah.
The restaurant, we already know, they're our friends. They're our clients. They want to do the beer garden.
Right.
The answer is yes. The
So
restaurants are
on the
struggling.
restaurant side, I guess the question now is going to be like, will the city want to do it, and how is it brokered?
Yeah, and we just explained how it's brokered. It's brokered by utilizing the revenue for school reconfiguration.
No, I meant brokered as in, like, how do we get them to talk to each other and be like, yeah, we should do this idea?
We are going to invite Mayor Snook on the show later this week.
All right,
and we're going to
perfect.
discuss this idea with him. That's what we're going to do. I'm going to put a clear outline of this plan on iloveseville.com and make it go viral. Judah will work on that this week. Okay? We'll utilize the Savannah approach. We'll make it go viral and put it in front of a hell of a lot of people. And then we'll put it into the ecosystem and let the community decide.
Right.
And we'll basically say, instead of a 10-cent real estate tax rate increase that is going to gentrify people out of this community, let's not do that. And let's instead do the beer garden concept. And let's allocate all the money to school reconfiguration.
I think that's an easy win right there.
Dude, that's the best kind of politics in business. Kevin Higgins, the king of Greenwood. I think the I Love Seville show should go live at the farmers market, talking to citizens about how it feels post-COVID to be out again, appreciating each other for surviving the pandemic. The stories would be incredible. Yes, it would be incredible, Kevin Higgins. And I love you, king of Greenwood, for chiming in
Kevin.
and offering perspective on the show as often as you do. I love this show. I literally love this show.
It's a lot of fun.
I love the stuff that comes up on the fly like this.
Yeah.
I mean, good Lord. Judah, that was on the fly. right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't think we were going to be talking about the beer garden, but I love it.
Carol Thorpe, what do you think? CT, Queen of Jack Jewett, give us the nitty gritty. What do you think? All right, a couple other topics we want to hit before we thank the CMO of Emergent Financial Services, Nicholas Erpe, for being a part of the program. And he went longer today. I just realized it's 1:30.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Sorry.
I just realized, no, don't apologize. It was great.
No, I love it.
Russia, Ukraine, impact on Charlottesville and in Central Virginia. Look, we stand with Ukraine.
Right.
Russia's president, and I'm not even going to say his name, seems like a
Dick.
psychopath dictator that is like
Dictator, yeah.
is just self-absorbed, trying to
secure his legacy.
secure his legacy through cannibalistic, devilish strategies that I thought were beyond us, but unfortunately they are not. What Russia is doing is undoubtedly a threat to democracy across the globe. So for us to just say it's in the East, it's not affecting us in the West, is short-sighted and closed-minded. Because if it's allowed or done to one country, what's going to prevent this psychopath from doing it to other countries? Okay? So this is a threat to democracy. We also should be concerned from an oil production standpoint, and Russia being such a stakeholder in the oil marketplace. We should also be concerned the fact that Russia has nuclear weapons. We should also be concerned with the fact that Russia can impact global markets. And if we don't believe Russia can impact global markets, look at the stock market the last 10 days.
It's not been pretty.
It's been effing awful, right?
Yeah.
Okay, look at the stock market the last few days, 10 days. And we should also be concerned about what this does from a consumer confidence standpoint. I learned from Neil Williamson earlier on the show on Real Talk this morning. Neil Williamson shares the link that Russia is a key stakeholder in lumber production,
right,
and lumber that is sent to the United States of America. That's utilized in new construction for homes. We have a new construction shortage. Russia's a key stakeholder in oil. Gasoline, when's it going to flirt with $4 a gallon around these parts? A couple more weeks of this and it is. It's already is it $3.50 and above right now?
Just about, I think.
Yeah.
$3.49 and change, right?
Yeah.
$3.49 and change. Okay, so think about this, and I'm going to ask Nicholas Erpe and the beautiful brained Judah Wickhauer this question as well. So giddy up and get ready. The impact that Russia-Ukraine is going to have on Charlottesville and Central Virginia, to localize it for the I Love CVille show. If gas continues to rise, people who have purchased homes in the outer counties or in Waynesboro or in Buckingham and commute to the epicenter of employment, the city of Charlottesville or Albemarle County, they're going to feel a sting big time.
Yep.
And it's going to eradicate disposable income from those households. Disposable income that otherwise would be spent on Main Street proverbially.
Right.
Not Main Street, Charlottesville. Okay? That extra gas cost means less money for coffee shops and restaurants. If it drives up the cost of goods, lumber, that means new construction is going to be at a price point that's less attainable for many in this community because cost of goods have upticked. If it impacts consumer confidence in stock portfolios, that means people are going to be more tight on the dollars they spend and less willing to dish them to community. What am I missing here, gentlemen? And we have a 1:45 conference call that's in approximately 11 minutes. What am I missing, gentlemen?
Well, my biggest concern actually is the follow-up from Russia is not going to even be coming from Russia, but the fact that now China is already flying over Taiwan airspace, and that's going to be another big deal. Because I think there is a general consensus around the world that the European and the European Union and the United States and all the other Western countries, Canada, whatever, are not going to do anything about Ukraine. They are going to let Ukraine do whatever they fight for themselves and hope that Russia stops with Ukraine. But now you're going to have a situation where what if Putin doesn't stop with Ukraine? What if China starts making moves on Taiwan because we know they want it? They've been saying it already, and they've already come out and said it's different. Ukraine is different from Russia because Taiwan already belongs to China. So there's going to be this. So do we start putting sanctions now on China again? If we start putting sanctions on China, now you're going to be double hit. You're going to have rising oil prices from Russia. You're going to have now apparently lumber prices going up from Russia. And think about it: the biggest weapon we had against Russia was energy. But because of the fact that energy costs have been going up so much, because of the fact that the United States is unwilling to drill oil, Russia now has the freedom. Basically, we bankrolled them by not doing it ourselves. And you notice that they waited until Germany shut down 3 of its nuclear plants and became almost totally dependent on Russian oil. So now you have a situation where Germany's saying, I'm going to rely on you for all my energy. Germany, which is probably the biggest producer, I think, in the European Union. And the United States now has become, I think President Biden said the other day that the United States is dependent on Russian oil. So if you're telling Putin, we're the 2 biggest powers basically in the West are dependent on you for energy, so we are going to allow the price, so the price is super high, but we're not going to push it up higher to stop you. He's going to do whatever he wants. Now, do I believe that he was trying to have a quick victory in Ukraine and come to some sort of arrangement? Oh, yeah. I'm thinking, I think that's what he was trying to do. But, its impact on Charlottesville is just going to be higher cost of everything. Like, we are seeing the global trade system start to crumble because of the fact that there aren't strong positions that are being taken again. Like, you're not willing to sacrifice on certain economic things because of the fact that we have become unwilling to produce them ourselves. And that creates dependency. And if you give a dictator dependency, he's going to have power. And what does he do with power? He's going to abuse it.
Judah Wickower, your perspective. I want to put this in a ribboned, bow-tied nutshell. If gasoline goes up, that impacts every single supply chain in the world. Mm-hmm. Restaurants, real estate, retail, wineries, breweries, advertising agencies, podcasting networks, landlords, financial firms.
Absolutely.
Gasoline escalation directly correlates to less disposable income for economies, micro and macro. Judah, jump in here.
Yeah, definitely. I'm already seeing it in just how much gas $10 will buy. You see, I don't know how many of you out there just straight up fill the entire tank. I know a lot of people probably just put in $10 or $20 every time they need it, and if you're down at if you're down at a quarter of a tank and you're used to $10 getting you up to like X. And now it's only getting you to here. You see it.
And when you see that, what's that do for confidence, consumer confidence for you?
I'm not a good model to scale on, but I think for a lot of people, you say, okay, well, I need to make all my stops at once. I need to not go out as much. I need to decide when is a good time to do my shopping, rather than just, normally maybe you stop whenever you get out of work, you stop here, you stop there, you stop the places you need to.
You're saying you spend less.
Yeah, now you're thinking of ways that you can save on gas and do all that shopping at one time.
Well said, Judah Wickower. I'm going to put this in a nutshell here. This Ukraine-Russian debacle, this nightmare, this psychopath who's leading this country has inspired me even more. And I'm already doing a good job of this, but I will take it to another level of buying local and buying American.
Right.
Buying local and buying American. And the ABC pulling Russian booze out of state-owned liquor stores, I was astonished by how many people said this: oh, those bottles have already been paid for. By pulling the bottles off the shelves, that's not hurting Russia. It's only hurting the Commonwealth of Virginia that's already purchased those booze bottles and is now just putting them in a warehouse. instead of selling them and taking the revenue from it and utilizing it for the Commonwealth. Boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, it is about the message it is sending. And the message it is sending is we will sacrifice this short-term revenue today to spite and spit on a dictator's actions tomorrow. And taking the booze out of ABC stores, yes, is a revenue sacrifice today for the Commonwealth, but it consolidates, it aggregates, it inspires, and it collectively joins the Commonwealth in a mission to just say the hell with a dictator's radical measures and tactics and strategies.
It's effective, actually. If you look historically, when the British went to war with the French and the British stopped buying French wine, they started drinking port. They made port the reason port from Portugal is an international industry now is because of the fact that they went to war with wine and stopped buying French wine.
You keep carrying the show. Keep carrying the show. No dead air. Keep going.
Here we go. And Jerry is bringing over local bottles. Like if they stop selling vodka that you're used to from Russia, try something else. Go for something different. We got Vitae Spirits right here.
Dude,
locally
where was this made?
Right here, Charlottesville. It's made in Charlottesville.
Where was this made?
Made in Charlottesville. These are collaborations too. Damson, like Ian Glomsky foraged for that.
Where was
liquor.
this made?
Charlottesville, Virginia, right here.
Vitae Spirits. Judah, where was this made?
Same answer as he's got.
Yeah.
Charlottesville, Virginia.
Hold up the collab again. I don't know if you saw everyone.
Champion Brewing Company.
Champion Brewing Company and Ragged Branch Distillery barrels. Vitae Spirits collaborating with the community.
Where was this made, Judah?
Right here in
Not in freaking Russia.
Right. And you know what? People are going to start drinking this stuff, and you don't need to buy.
This wasn't made in Russia.
No, absolutely not.
Where was this made? In our home.
Yep. And he's right here on Water Street, talking about a downtown location. Go to Water Street. He's right there. Go. Its cocktails are amazing. His bottles are amazing. Everything. Like this is what Charlottesville is also becoming. Like wine, cider, beer, alcohol. I mean,
Goosebumps, Ian Glomsky, Vitae Spirits, Goosebumps. Freaking love you guys. Made in Charlottesville. Vitae Spirits Distillery, Charlottesville, Virginia, 22903. It does not say
Vladistov, Russia.
Russian vodka
Yeah.
made in a dictator's backyard that is the devil trying to kill people in countries next to him for self-serving, egotistical legacy purposes. Does it say that on here?
I'd be surprised if it did.
It does not. It does not, dude.
No.
It does not.
Buy American.
Nicholas
buy local.
Erpy. Love you.
I love you, Jerry.
Today,
Love Judah.
manana, Thursdays at 10:15. We got a conference call in 65 seconds. Tell us what's on Today, manana.
We've got Janine from Charlottesville Skate Shop, and we've got Sarah Bon Harper, the executive director of James Monroe Highland, on. We want to get a little bit of history, but local history, because James Monroe was one of the Virginia dynasty. He came from really close by, so we're going to have that on. We're going to, talk business. We're going to talk history. It's going to be great.
Emergent Financial Services. You want to build some wealth and you want to grow your retirement and you want to get prepared for growing old and create some generational income? Nicholas Erpy, Michael Erpy, Xavier Erpy, Alex Erpy, Emergent Financial Services. Where can they find you online?
EmergentFS.com. Just reach out to us, or on Facebook, Emergent Financial Services.
Bravo, amigo.
Jerry, you're the best. Thank you for
Freaking
having
love
me
you.
on.
Judah Wickower.
Judah.
Give them that signature sign-off. There's the signature sign-off. Come on.
Adios. Oh, you know what it is.
Here it is. Signature sign-off. Do it.
This is the news.
It's so good.
Or as we say in Today Mañana, hasta mañana.
Oh, gosh. Nicholas and Judah, truly a pleasure. Tomorrow, we are back with Real Talk at 10:15 a.m. Hasta luego, everybody. We hope you enjoyed the show. Take care.
That was fun.
You absolutely killed it. We got a conference call in
guys got
Well done, Nicholas.
pacing. No, that was the